going to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah, hope I get away with it. Oh, doo-dah, day.
Hello, folks. I'm Dan Hollifield, and this is Last Man Standing. Try as I might, I could not think of a smart ass entry line for the show tonight. So just think of the most silly thing you can imagine me saying, and then pretend I said it. All right. With me tonight, we got Joe Bachman. We might have Dawn here in a little bit. We do not know whether or not she is feeling okay to pop in. We shall see. Let me go back to the comments. Thesis.
And Nick.
And Nick. Both of you, get your ass in here. Oh, Lord, now I got to pull up the damn program and send you a link.
I can send it to both of them real quick.
Okay, you can probably do it faster than me.
Let's see.
I cannot get this program to shut off. Not the one we're on, but the one I just fired up and tried to use. Nope, not going anywhere. I'll have to use the executive override to end that one. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Stupid O'Clock was very entertaining tonight for lots and lots of reasons. I hope that no one was offended. I do hope that everyone was entertained. And if anybody was offended, it's my fault. I did it. Everybody else, including Joe Dog, was innocent. And if you believe that, you'll buy this watch.
Mm-hmm. Let's have a bridge I'd like to talk to you about.
Yeah, that one over the Atlantic Ocean that's in Nevada, right?
Mm-hmm.
Used to be in London. Oh no, that's the one in Arizona. Ah, geography. What a concept. Well,
I just had
you're
a idea for a new sign to burn while I was down the hall heading to the restroom.
I can't wait.
Picture of a toilet, and the sign just says "Stand close." It's shorter than you think.
Uh yes.
I've seen that many a times, and it's like,
I've actually seen that posted in restrooms, yes.
mhm.
Usually in country music bars. Yes, uh, that's exactly right. I've seen that movie. Um, and in spite of David Hasselhoff, it was a good movie. Um, not that I am putting down David Hasselhoff. That was one of those performances where he seemed to have phoned it in. He was not really interested in that project, as far as I could tell from watching the finished movie. Um, don't know that there would be anybody that could have done it better. Um, don't know that it should have been done by anybody else. Uh, it's still a good movie. It is still a good movie, and Thesis is with us now. So hey,
Evening, Thesis.
hey.
Hello. Move my camera. There we go.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Nick, it was a C grade movie at best, but yeah, doesn't mean it wasn't entertaining. Um, especially somebody that spent most of their life researching Jack the Ripper, like me. Um, Lord, I'm still looking that stuff up, and
You
I
probably hate
actually,
me then.
oh no, I don't hate you at all. Um, I actually know a lot of the people that have written the source books. I mean, I know them on a first name basis and have met them. Um, and my wife line edited one of them's source book. I'm not going to say which one, but there were fewer grammatical errors when she got through with it than before she started. And it's a quite famous book, and almost everybody that's interested in Jack the Ripper has that one in their library.
I have one. I don't know if it's it's talking about one of the main theories of who Jack the Ripper was.
Oh, this wasn't a theory. It was just here's the background. Here's
Yeah.
the the society. Here is the Joe. You don't have ops here, but you really want me to bring that up?
Well, I figured you'd be able to read it because it's fairly big in the small thing there.
Yes, I
I
can
need to
read
figure
it,
out.
but
I need to figure out how to incorporate that into a wood burning for Joe Dog.
uh, okay, okay. Here's what you do. Have you ever got spanked by the principal of your elementary school?
No, sadly they quit doing that by the time I was in school.
Okay, think of uh, uh, a cricket bat but flatter, and about half as long. And that would be the perfect thing because if you hit Joe Dog with one of those, global warming will increase by exponential rates. Uh,
Yeah, not even going to comment on that. I'm not going to say a word.
that's about right. Yep, yep. I'd say a pizza board would do it quite well. And then don't give it to Joe Dog, give it to his wife. Probably be cheaper to pay you to replace it than it would be for her to ruin one of her frying pans.
Okay, so I'm gonna need. I know you know his address.
I don't know his address.
Oh,
I don't. You had to ask Chris for that. Yeah.
but I know Chris will give it to me without telling Joe
Without
Dog.
any questions whatsoever.
And then I won't mail it to him under his name. I will mail it straight to his wife.
Donna
put it-
McKeel.
Yep, I will put it under her name.
Yep. Wrap it carefully because that's the last time that bubble wrap's ever going to be used before Chattanooga echoes to a resounding "Come on!"
Yeah, I think it'd be thick enough to withstand at least a
Oh,
couple.
that might take 2-3 licks upside his head. Yeah, at least 3. Oh, and he's going to watch this later, and I'm going to go. Good thing I'm already prepaid for Hallowcon because he's up the rates.
I'm gonna be removed from the list from the list that gets the links.
No. He's got a great sense of humor.
All right, now I gotta take off my
That's
headset.
my
again.
story, and I'm standing by it. Thesis, thank you for being here tonight. Really, I have enjoyed every conversation we've had so far, and I want those to continue. So I'll try not to piss you off. Because
that takes a fair bit of work to do that. There's only been maybe 10 people in my entire life that have pissed me off enough that I don't talk to them anymore. So,
I've got a sneaking suspicion you're a far better fencer than I am.
that may be a matter of opinion, but
let's just say I'm enthusiastic, but after college, I did not pursue it any further as a PE. So
you had it. I didn't even get to take Tai Chi until Foxy was in college, and then that's how I met my second teacher, and he's one of the people that I don't really talk to anymore. So,
basically, there were 2 different levels of fencing classes as a PE at the University of Georgia. I took both of them, and because of the way my schedule went, I was able to hang around for the advanced at least once a week. There was one guy that was absolutely frightening, and he's about 7 feet tall and had reach accordingly. And he said that I was the only one that ever challenged him.
Nice.
Because I was scared to death, and my parries were on point, but my reposts were not. But that was a fun year. That was a fun year. I wound up taking um, what amounted to an entire year of fencing with only paying for 2 quarters.
All right.
So yeah, it was like gymnastics. I wasn't good for an awful lot, but there were a few things my coach said you should not be able to do that,
Yeah.
but I did it anyway, and might still could, but
Oh yeah.
let's hope I never have a reason to find out. Um, I do not know any reason that I would have to get up on the high bar and twirl and pull up and stand on the damn thing like Spider-Man, but I did when I was 18.
So when I first started fencing, when long after my wife had already started, mind you, um, Nick was the trainer, and he would always take the new person aside and just kind of go through like some basic drills, and then would see how their point control was. And we're doing little mini bouts and everything. We get done. He looks at me. He goes, "You sure you haven't fenced before?" I said, "No." He goes, "Sports?" I said, "Well, I play pool." He goes, "That's it."
Yeah.
That'd do it.
Yep.
Yep. Once you learn the geometry of a pool table, a lot of other things in life become much simpler.
Mm-hmm.
And this includes driving in heavy traffic.
Yeah.
You can look at other cars and see the way they're moving, and you can make intuitive judgments about the personality of the driver from how the car behaves
Mm-hmm.
and go, yeah, this is an asshole. He's about to change about 4 lanes to the exit without a turn signal. I'm going to slow down just a hair and watch this magnificent catastrophe unfold.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the difference between a pool player and a pinball player. Most of the people on the roads are pinballs because they just kind of go ding, 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 especially as they're bouncing off the walls.
There's a reason that K rails are reinforced the way they are.
Yes, yes. And I have seen concrete rails on the sides of the roads with chunks taken out of them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have driven in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some of those done by cars, some by plows.
No,
at least
I
our
don't.
area.
In Atlanta, it's never by plows. It's always by some idiot. Wasn't me, because half the time I was driving through Atlanta, I was on a motorcycle, and I could not take a chunk out of a bridge no matter how hard I tried, even if I had a really good samurai sword. Just
So I don't know if they do this out in your area, but on the center, like on any concrete walls, permanent concrete walls on the roadway. So like your center median dividing the interstate or stuff like that.
yeah.
Generally, when we replace a section of that wall, we have to put up little reflectors every so often. They actually just mount to the side of it. They are epoxied on, and they last for about the first year because the plows end up taking them off.
Remember, Atlanta only gets snow every 10 years or so.
Right.
So
But I wasn't
plows,
sure if we were the only state that wasted money by epoxying something onto the side of a concrete wall, or
oh, okay. Let me
and
tell
it.
you the most impressive thing that I have seen on one of those concrete wall dividers.
Mhm.
You know how transfer trucks often have the extended lug nuts.
Mhm.
When you see a spiral channel carved into the center concrete divider between the two lanes, you kind of get the hint that maybe that driver should have pulled over and taken a nap before he went down that particular section of road, because this is not a shallow carving.
Mhm.
This is like truck was on autopilot without robotic control, and the only thing keeping it from going into the other lane was that concrete wall, which now has a channel carved through it on some of the curves. I mm, I'm glad I wasn't on the road that day, whether I was in a car or on a bike. Um, I-40 is the one that I was thinking of,
Mhm.
which I affectionately call the snake because it is just twists and turns. And trucks are supposed to be in the right hand lane
Mhm.
by law. Doesn't mean they always are.
No.
And the speed limit through there is 65 for cars and 55 for transfer trucks,
Mhm.
which also doesn't mean anything whatsoever because
No.
usually cars are going about 70 and trucks are going about 65, and they're using both lanes like it was the Daytona 500. So,
Yeah, the section of 94 I work on, that my wife and I have worked on the last couple years, is 55 across the board, 55 miles per hour. If you are doing anything less than 60 in the right lane, you become a statistic. If you are doing anything less than about 80 in the left lane, you become a statistic.
that's very close to Atlanta. Um, Speed limit signs are merely suggestions
Mm-hmm.
there.
Hmm.
They call it the Watermelon 500 for a reason. 285 goes all the way around Atlanta, and if you're lucky, you can find your exit the first time you go on it. If you're not lucky, you got to go all the way around Atlanta till you come back to that exit again, which takes about 15 minutes at that speed if you're flowing along with traffic.
Mm.
And it's about 150 miles. So lets you know how fast traffic in Atlanta goes.
Now,
Scares the crap out of me.
now
Um,
we also had during these last two construction seasons, speaking of the no trucks in the left lanes, because we had to work in the center of the road, so we had to split traffic around us. And so that created the two left lanes to be a shoot lane. You could not exit if you were in those two lanes until you were out of our construction zone.
ooh.
This also meant that if you broke down, nobody could get around you.
Well, around, yes.
No.
Through, maybe.
We
Way the Peaceful Warrior by Dan Milliman. No, I have not read that. I have not read that at all. I'll have to look that up.
we had a lit message board, signs that we mounted to the center median wall, and then paid extra for the company that was doing the temporary traffic markings to come out and paint the words "No trucks" on those 2 lanes before they actually went into their little chutes. And every day there was a semi that would break down in one of those lanes. And would he break down at the far end, close to the where they'd be merging back out?
No.
It was midway or better, which meant
Yeah.
that tow truck operator was cussing him for at least 2.5 miles because he had to go make it through all the bullshit traffic now, get out to that point, and then back down a 12-foot wide lane.
Now, one of my before I was 20 experiences was driving through Knoxville, Tennessee, while they were reconstructing the highways for the World's Fair. It didn't matter what lane you got in. It ended in 50 feet, and it had like Tron walls of concrete on either side. And it's Knoxville. Posted speed limit was 55. 70 was... the cops didn't even look. They were used to that. But here you've got 5 lanes of traffic going into one little lane. And it ended in 500 feet. And they never slowed down. You just had to be really observant and agile. Dad went through there once with a dump truck loaded with about 3 tons of hay bales. I don't know how. I closed my eyes. Dad was a god. I mean, seriously awesome. And I just went, I'll just listen to the radio and pretend to be asleep. Thank you. I don't want to see this. If I'm going to die, I want to die in my sleep. Okay. And Dad, being the force of nature that he was, I mean, right on through. Didn't lose a hay bale. And they were about $100 a piece. The place we were delivering them to. They were about $3 a piece where we left. So that's a hell of a profit margin.
Yeah.
And we had that truck loaded up to where it could just barely get under a bridge. So I don't know how much money Dad made, but he bought me a tank of high-test gasoline every quarter I was in college, saying, hey, can't get you tuition because we make too much money on my day job and Mom's day job, but I can buy you 250 gallons of gasoline every quarter, but if you drain the tank, you got to buy your own. Of course, this was back when gas was about 50 cents a gallon. And I I never drained that tank dry because I knew I needed that free gas
Mm-hmm.
to be able to go back and forth to school. And um I did have a couple of friends where we would take a pint of tequila and a 6 pack of soda pop and cruise dirt roads, talking about going to parties and meeting girls, but never going to those parties and meeting girls.
Yeah, that's college right there.
Well, no, this was high school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, College, I actually got to meet girls and get a date, and events eventuated eventually. Um,
Well, I dated the same girl in high school for almost all 3 years, so that was my
oh,
college.
I I was the guy that ruined the grading curve in high school. You know, they're going, "Hey, you turned my C into an F. I'm gonna thump
Mm-hmm.
you."
hmm
And I'm going, "Only if you can catch me."
Mm-hmm.
Um, and sometimes they did, and
Yeah, it happens.
sometimes I got in trouble for being bruised, but they never got in trouble for bruising me
Mm-hmm.
because they were on the football team. So, mm,
Yeah, I dated the same girl from the end of my sophomore year and married her.
you are one lucky guy. Or
Hmm
both of you are, actually.
Well, for her
Um,
to put up with my shit for over 20 years now, I'm lucky. I fully admit
Yeah, it's
that.
been probably
well,
almost 25.
in my defense, I did get an advanced education once I got into college. Um, wasn't always fun,
Mm.
but it was always an education. So yeah,
Oh,
there are several ladies that are still on speaking terms with me. Thank God. Um, there are only there are only three ladies that I had a relationship with in my entire life that I'm no longer on speaking terms with, who are still with us.
mm.
And the ones that aren't still with us, I was on good speaking terms with at the time. So I I think for an ignorant redneck, I came out pretty well on that exchange. But I regret having pissed off those three ladies enough to where they won't talk to me anymore. But I was young, I was immature, I was ignorant, and that's still no excuse.
Yeah.
mm,
I should have been more mature at that time, but I wasn't. And I'm sorry. But, you know, they won't know. They'll never watch this shit. So,
I would be afraid if any of my exes came across any of the things I've done on YouTube because I tend to talk about them sometimes and they're not always in the
uh,
best light. So,
I'm I try not to out of respect, even the ones that I really despise. I mean, the one that's dead and the other one that I still respect even though she's dead. And the rest of them, that's right to privacy. I can't do that. I can't do that. It's their lives. I don't have the right to say anything about their lives. I don't have the right to say anything about them. They were. I was head over heels in love. Everything was fine. Then it wasn't. Then the
Mm-hmm.
relationship was over. That's it. That's all I can say. I, if somebody ever asked me to write a kiss and tell book, I couldn't do it because I couldn't tell.
Mm.
You know, it's not their right to privacy overrides anything that I've got right now, ever had. You know, their life is their own. Hopefully, somewhere I'm a fond memory, but if I'm not, doesn't matter. I, I, I can't. I don't have the right to say anything. Um, that makes me weird because somebody was telling the story about sitting on the tailgate with uh, somebody's dad and neighbors, and I'm just going, oh, I'd have to make shit up right there. I could not. No. I couldn't honestly say anything about any of the women that I've ever been with in my life. And somebody asked me once how many. I'm going. It was so dark. There were so many. I can't tell. Uh, that's the story of my 20s probably. Um, um, seriously, I've lost quite a few to
Yeah.
infirmities and cancer and whatnot. That I dated for a little while or quite a while. But I'm proud to say there's several that I did date for short time, long time, doesn't matter. And they're still around. And when we meet at a convention or something, we're on great terms. And not only that, my wife loves them. So I'm a happy guy. So
Yeah, that makes a difference.
somewhere I did something right, you know. Um, what was that line from a Frank Zappa song? No, it was an Alice Cooper song. Never mind, can't remember. I'm not going to
Well,
look it up.
need more to go on than that. A little.
Oh, it was from Generation Landslide, but it might have been the updated version. Usually it's Chris and I that are talking music because, well, that's one of the biggest things that he and I have in common. Our musical tastes are so different, but they
Yeah.
overlap so much. Uh, it's really neat because sometimes I can clue him into an artist that I just remembered that was so awesome, and he can clue me into something I've never heard of before,
Oh
and
yeah.
I go, "Oh yeah, that's awesome." Once I finally get the link. Oh, Nick.
No. Good
Um,
night, Nick.
yeah. Good
Have a good
night.
night, Nick.
It's okay. You you have a life. You go live it. The rest of us, well, um, we're reprobates. So
Yeah.
here's to my fellow reprobates.
I'll drink to that.
I'm glad to say that once Lindsay started taking the Theraflu and the NyQuil that I got for her to cope with this flu or whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
she started feeling better.
Good.
And as long as everything is still active, she
Mhm.
feels great. Soon as it wears off, I can tell from her voice, it's not working anymore. It's time for a second dose, honey.
Mm-hmm.
But she's really reluctant to keep going continually with this stuff because some of it keeps her awake and some of it knocks her out. And I don't know. I really don't know which is better for her, so I can't recommend anything.
Yeah.
But I love this woman dearly, and I have for decades.
Oh yeah.
I I kind of feel inadequate that I can't take good enough care of her that she doesn't catch something, but she goes out to the church and whatnot. Every Wednesday, she goes and helps the Spanish speaking people
Mm-hmm.
translate to the people at the church what they need to get by as far as groceries do. And, you know, I'm she's just amazing. She's absolutely amazing. Um, teeny tiny British lady. I love her so much, but she puts up with me for some reason. I don't know why, but it's certainly not my charm.
Hey, you never know.
It might be my quirk or my strangeness. Um, and if you
Those are
don't know Hawkwind, you don't know that reference. So,
synonymous with charm, aren't they?
well, okay. I'll do this once. Look up Hawkwind, Quirk, Strangeness, and Charm, and play the video. It's a song. It's it's great, but starts off with Einstein was not a handsome fellow, but everybody called him Al. Um, it goes on from there. Believe me, it's. I started to say quite charming, but that would be a circular reference. Um, I Hawkwind is one of my favorite bands. Um, they and Bebop Deluxe, and Bebop Bebop Deluxe is no longer together. Bill Nelson, the creative force behind Bebop Deluxe, is still working, but his health is not good, and I'm dreading the day when that man leaves this earth because we will be deprived of one of the finest poets that has ever walked the planet. I tell him so as often as I possibly can, and he just, you're too kind, you're too kind. Dude, it's just the truth. Um, if you don't know either of those bands, anybody that's watching this later, I highly recommend looking them up, especially um, Hawkwind in the 70s to 80s, uh, Bebop Deluxe, the entire 5 albums they did, Bill Nelson, everything he's ever done. I mean, seriously. Um, the guy's a force of nature. I'm gonna hate it. I'm gonna hate it when he's gone. I really am. just like I'm going to hate it when Rick Wakeman finally departs this mortal coil. He's one of the last godlike keyboard players that we've ever had. I mean, look at all of them we lost already. But, Rick's still here. But he's even older than I am, so don't know how long he's going to be able to hang on. If it comes to music, I can talk all night. If it comes to science fiction, I can talk all night. If it comes to obscure TV references, I can talk all night. I often worry whether or not I come off as something just absolutely boring. Oh, hey, Josh. I mean,
Evening,
good
Josh.
grief. You're up late. Good to see you. Hope the weather's better down over in Alabama than it is here in Georgia. We're getting pounded by rain. In case you didn't know, Josh does weather predictions and stuff like that. He's really good. He's got a lot of contacts and a lot of stuff. Oh, I'm getting your rain. Oh, yeah.
It's nice that you were taught to share, but I don't think Dan wanted you to share that much.
That's all right. I've got a well. It's 200 feet deep, and I've got 180 feet of water. I don't mind if it comes up to 190. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to walk in my yard because it'd be a pond. But
I'm trying to decide which of your albums I'm going to get next, Dan, to change up the music on the live streams.
What are you considering?
I'm looking at 10,000 Airships right now.
That's very, very orchestral with a lot of sound effects.
And then also considering the Space Dust.
That is me and Jim playing live, and it is total improv. And okay, if you can imagine King Crimson trying to jam with I can't imagine anybody else it would sound like. It sounds like King Crimson. But like I said, it's all live, one take. No editing whatsoever. So Jim and I, he was the guitar player. He would compose stuff. He taught me how to play bass. And in that particular album, it was, we're tired. We've been jamming for about 3 hours. Let's relax a little bit. And Jim would start off with some Crimson-esque sort of thing. And I would come in behind that and try and keep up. That was the thing about me and Jim. He would lead. I would try and keep up, especially on the improv. But he and I got telepathic so many times. It's like I knew he was going to make a a chord change. I knew he was going to make a time change. I knew just at the same time he decided to do it because we knew each other that well. Um, that's one of the best ways to actually have a successful musical enterprise is for everybody in the group to become a family, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And Jim and I had an advantage of having been roommates for years. I recorded some of his early stuff on a little cassette recorder, and I think um, I think I invented overdubbing with several cassette decks on some home stereo. At the same time, studios have been doing that for 20 years, but um, that was a great piece. Um, and then he finally talked me into getting a bass so he could have a backup musician. And oh, the one that's called One Night. That was when he asked one of the guys that used to work with um, REM and Love Tractor and um, well, lots of other Athens bands
Mm-hmm.
as a session musician came over and jammed with us. And the drummer had never heard any of our shit before. But Jim and I have been going through this for years. So I was amazed at how quick the drummer caught on to the time changes, the chord changes, everything else. Because these were Jim's songs. They were well, all but one. They were Jim's songs. Well, two. This is stuff Jim worked out meticulously. I mean, he practiced all the time. And then me, want to play? Okay, let me plug it up. Dun, dun, dun. That was it. That was it. I didn't practice that much. I just I learned what he wanted me to do. It took me 3 takes to learn what he had written for a bass guitar while he was playing lead guitar. Now,
And
that
actually,
sounds
you've
that
heard some
sounds
of
like
those
I'm
songs.
bragging. That sounds like I'm bragging, but no. For a good musician, that's like it took you 3 tries. Um,
And you've actually heard me play a few of the songs from One Night Only on The Burning Is Love.
mm-hmm.
Odin on Roller Skates is one that gets played quite often just because I love the name of that one.
Actually, I picked the names for all of them. Jim couldn't figure out how to name any of them, so I picked the names.
And
Oh,
Let's Get Acquainted is a perfect name for that first track. Because like
that
you can
that
tell
was
you're you
yeah.
know
The drummer just fired up and just went straight into whatever beat he wanted.
mhm.
Jim had never heard it. I'd never heard it. I started improvising. Jim followed me. That was that was glorious. That was an absolutely glorious time. That particular hour. Oh my God. I've never felt so alive in my life. I mean,
Have you ever? I don't know that I've played that track recently since you've been watching The Burning Is Love Bladed.
I'm not sure.
Oh,
Give me a second. I can.
go to my Bandcamp and you
Yeah.
can listen to it for free. The only one on that particular release that was totally mine was the last track.
Amazon Raceway.
No.
Am I missing one? Then I must be. I must not have uploaded one.
No, because there are other things that I did with David instead of with Jim. Later on the line.
Oh, track number 5.
Yep.
Dan,
That one,
Jim, and Richard.
the later on the line was the only one that Jim had to learn from me. And Richard picked it up. He stepped up the pace a whole lot faster than what Jim and I had been used to playing before. That was a challenge. And if you remember, towards the end of it, when we're trying to slow down and end the distortion boxes on my bass guitar, started squalling through a 300-watt beta bass amp like nobody's business. And I worked it. I worked it. It never happened before, but I made it work. Oh my goodness. No, that was my composition.
Okay.
And it's one of the few ones that are on the things that Jim and I did together. Matter of fact, I can't remember anything else that Jim and I did together that I actually came up with. All the rest of them were his, and he deserves the credit because he's a brilliant musician, songwriter.
Mhm.
Doesn't write lyrics, but neither do I. So, oh,
Yeah,
God.
if you have a chance sometime later, just go to Dan's indie CD page because I have like the links to each album up on there, and that's the nice thing about Bandcamp is it'll let you listen to it before you buy it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a Bandcamp account. I got a few songs from there from different people. So
Yeah, well, you already know. If you listen to more than 3, they ask you to buy something, and you go, fuck off. I'm going to listen to more. You don't have to buy anything, and you can listen to it over and over again. It doesn't matter. Are you in the least bit interested in heavy synth sort of instrumental stuff?
I mean, it depends. It depends on my mood, but I'll listen to just about anything.
Well, there's a lady that's on a narrowboat over in England that does her own soundtrack to her narrowboat channel, so she doesn't have to pay rights. Heidi Manning.
Okay.
God, and she can actually play. I mean, seriously, she. I've actually seen her compose something before. She on a keyboard and punch in sequences and all this other stuff, and I'm going, "Oh, honey, I love you." And there's a guy on another channel. Oh, drat! Don't make me look that up. I'll be so embarrassed if I can't remember his name because he sounds like a cross between Neil Young and Hawkwind, and he does everything by himself.
Ooh.
And he is really, really good. He's got a very high pitched, reedy voice for his lyrics, but it's it fits so well. I mean, he sounds like the epitome of a 1969, 1970 um, no, what was the category back then? I couldn't tell you. Well, nowadays it'd be independent, almost new wave. But
Mm.
back then it was something a whole lot different. But let me see if I can look up his name. Joe. Um, no, Benny. Um, God, if he ever reads this, he's gonna hate me. Um, Benny Jones.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah. He is. He's not only incredibly creative, but he's a fascinating personality as well. And evidently, he's a hell of a cook. I mean, his wife Emily goes, "Oh, Benny's cooking? Nope, I'm stepping back." So, you know, of course they're vegan, so your mileage may vary, but she likes what he cooks, so that's all that's important.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, who else have I got a responsibility to pimp tonight? I don't know. Uh, ah, I don't know. Something will come up later, as the actress said to the bishop. Yeah, I've read all the Saint novels. Yes, uh, that was a recurring joke in those. Mm. Oh, one more dead soldier. Ah, we shall see. The regiment will be replenished. Yeah, Thesis, if you know me for any length of time, you will get the impression that I am a hopeless alcoholic. But that is incorrect. I'm a very hopeful alcoholic. I hope there's another beer in the damn fridge. Oh, I got Joey on that one.
Well, I think I know which album I'm going to buy next.
Oh,
Actually, apparently, I already bought it. I just never
which
downloaded
one is
it.
that?
Second Helping.
Oh, yeah, you've already got that one. And I thought you had 10,000 airships too.
That one's not showing up as that I own that one.
10,000 airships is one of those things where I decided I needed a full orchestra and a rock band and sound effects. Then there are a couple of pieces on that one where I'm working with 42 individual tracks of music
Oh, holy shit.
Jeez.
plus sound effects. Yeah, I'm sorry. I want to be John Williams, but I'm not. But you give me a full orchestra, I'm going to put them motherfuckers through their paces. Uh, I love being able to do an entire soundscape, just putting pictures in your head,
Mm.
especially since there are no vocals, there are no words. Now, 10,000 Airships was supposed to be an audio play with voices, but it never happened. Um, I could never finish the script in time for the people that wanted to do the voices to actually do it. And they were um, students at an acting college. They were going to do it as a class assignment. And one of my old friends from the factory was their theater teacher. So, it was going to work out, but I
Mm.
couldn't figure out, I probably, if anything ever sells off this, probably going to owe those kids a whole bunch of money. But no, it never happened. There's a couple of tracks there where um I read the narration for one for it. A retitle of the same track, he read the narration for that part. And basically I told him the idea is this is my version of War of the Worlds, the big musical, uh, um, Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds. This was my version of that, but it was about airships.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, read it like you were Richard Burton. And he did his best job, and it sounded fantastic. I loved it. Um, Unfortunately, the entire project went nowhere. I didn't finish writing the script for the voices that should have went with it. I never even finished writing the rest of the music because I was doing this. And one song was very special, and I sent it to Stephanie, and it became the entire Displaced Detective album.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, um, I went all out. Oh, if you've ever listened to the bonus track on that on Bandcamp, uh, it was a radio play with Sir John Gielgud as Sherlock Holmes and Orson Welles as Professor Moriarty.
Ooh, I'll have to go back and listen to. I've never listened to the bonus track on it. I do need to.
Well, I did all the sound effects and all the music in the track. I replaced all the music in the original radio play with my stuff
Nice.
and tied it into the theme of the Displaced Detective, so it would fit in.
Mm-hmm.
But oh my God, I had there was one part of it where a um, a coach in 4 pulled up to um, a station and passengers got out and then pulled off. Okay, I could find a recording of horses pulling up to a station. Pulling away? Nope. I had to reverse that shit and shift it just a little bit. And there were lots of things where people were walking around. I had to put footsteps in there on gravel, on snow, on stairs. Um, any sound effect that wasn't in the original radio play, and any music that was in the original radio play got replaced by what I did. So it's 18 minutes long.
Mhm.
It's as good as old Dan. It's just I'm not talking. I'm
Mhm.
producing.
Yeah, I have to go back and listen to that tomorrow while I'm working on stuff. So I got so many more burnings I gotta do before Indie Creator Con.
Well, I'll tell you, Orson Welles makes one hell of a Professor Moriarty. I mean, that is a very menacing voice if
Mhm.
you're a hero. And you go, oh, this is my bad guy. I'm screwed.
I fucked up.
No, it's more like, oh, I better be on my top game today. Because no mistakes are going to be allowed.
Mm-mm.
No, with Moriarty, you don't get to make mistakes. You just have to outthink him. And that's not going to be easy.
Mhm.
No.
Yeah, the only album you've released, Dan, that I probably won't play on the streams, and it's not because it's not a good album. I love the music on it. Is Invocation,
That
because
puts people to sleep
I
because
will put my ass to sleep trying to burn something and end up burning myself.
I did I designed Invocation to be so relaxing that people go to sleep.
Hmm.
Either that or they're so far deep in a trance that ancient Egyptians can't wake them up. I mean, seriously. Uh, the working title was This'll Put You to Sleep. It works. It puts me to sleep, and I wrote it. Um,
I was going to say, how many times did you fall asleep while editing?
I'll remember
None.
that next time I can't fall asleep. I'm having one of those nights where my brain won't shut the hell up.
Go for it. Go for it. I highly recommend. I actually there's this little girl at the factory. A little girl. She's probably about 30. She she bought a cop. She bought a copy of the Tom Darby book, Abducted. She bought a paperback
Hmm.
instead of putting it on her phone. I autographed it for her, and she bought a copy of Invocation. And she says, I have never slept so well in my life. It's got a lot of surf on the beach, rainstorms, campfire stuff as the interact introductory background, white noise,
Hmm.
and the music keeps going on from there. The main thing I did wrong with that album is that instead of ending at the end of each song, I ended it, blended the extended ending into the beginning of the next song. So there's this noticeable gap.
Mm.
If you burn it on a CD without any spaces in between, it sounds like one continuous piece of music. But if you're just listening to it one track at a time, it's not quite what I was hoping it would be. Uh, I don't know why I did that. I was probably pretty drunk at the time. But
Maybe that's what I need to
hey,
do. Get
Normal.
plastered while I'm trying to write shit, and it might come out better.
all I can say is just let it go all the way through and forget the spaces. Um, and if that don't put you to sleep, I'll write something else. That's a threat. Oh no, there was a long time when, um, for some reason or another, my wife could not sleep without some kind of white noise going on in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept going on YouTube, and I get these waterfall or creek noise or lake noise or surf noise videos that had, just gentle orchestral stuff going on. And I'm going, I don't care if it is 12 hours. I could do that. So I did. Um, oh, Josh, I just read your comment again, and now I am hearing a lady from the 70s singing "I Can't Stand the Rain" against my window, bringing back sweet memories. Oh, Lord. I can't even remember who she was. Um, she made a lot of money off that one, but I think the actual title of the song was "I Can't Stand the Rain." But
Was it Tina Turner?
no, it wasn't Tina. She might have covered it.
Because I know that version.
Um, believe me, I pay attention to anything Tina Turner ever did. I mean, seriously, anytime she wiggled her hips, I paid attention. That was, oh my God, she was one hell of a goddess right there.
Oh yeah.
She's right on up there with Betty Page in my book. And I'm an old guy, so I'm, Barbie Benton ain't even in the running. Uh, who did that? I'm going to have to look it up myself. Um, Gonna be a bunch of them. Yeah, Tina Turner is the first one that shows up. Um, Ann Peebles in 1973. That was the first one. Oh, goodness. Goodness gracious. Um, give me a moment. I'm going to have to explore this a little bit further. Obviously, I can't broadcast it here. Yep, and people just sound like the original voice. Yep. Um, now, on the radio, it sounded a lot more dramatic than the YouTube official video.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I think it was a bit earlier in her career. and the video is a bit later in her career. That voice. That would make a teenage boy get in his car with his pint of tequila and dry dirt roads with that on repeat for a long time on his cassette player in the car that he had to install himself because cassette players had not been invented when the car was. So, oh,
Hey, I had to install mine, and that was in 1998, maybe.
I do believe I installed my first aftermarket cassette player, equalizer, and amplifier in my 75 Impala in 1976. And I went so far as to add 4 aftermarket speakers and crawl up through the dash and wire in the original AM radio speaker to the cassette deck and everything else. That was a glorious car. That was an absolutely glorious car. I hated it when it finally died on me. But I was young and insane. I had no excuse. Had a Chevy 350 engine and a 300 turbo hydromatic automatic transmission. I flipped the air cleaner top upside down so that the air filter would get air all the way around instead of just through the snout. When I kicked in the 4-barrel, it sounded like an F-16 taking off. It would do 0 to 60 in 10 seconds. I know this for a fact. Almost got a ticket.
Almost.
I did get clocked by a cop. Goes, if you weren't sober, I would take you to jail right now. Let me go. I got to the county line. It was a straight shot for 12 miles between the county line and the turnoff for the road where my parents' house is. It was nothing but straight line hills.
Mm.
And this was not streets of San Francisco hills. This was Georgia hills. So I would get to the county line. I would put my foot down, and that 12 miles or so went by really quickly. Really quickly. As one of my friends in high school said, you was going rapidly fast. Oh, but it was fun. if there had been any curves, I wouldn't have been able to get away with it because there's no way that
Mhm.
at that speed I would have been able to control anything on a curve. But straight, just vertical and horizontal, that's a different matter. Um, oh,
When
I
I
should
when
not,
I go ahead.
I should not be alive today with all the shit that I pulled as a teenager. Um,
I think that can be said for most of us.
Mhm.
hey, if my parents ever figured out half the shit I did, they'd have killed me. Wouldn't have to worry about an accident. It would have been he needed a killing. Um, that's a southern thing.
Mhm.
I think it's still a legal defense in Georgia. Motherfucker needed killing. Um, case dismissed. Yeah. Oh.
Back when I was in high school, my midway through my senior year, we moved from Wanata, where I grew up, back to Valparaiso. But I didn't transfer high schools. I just continued to go to La Crosse, which was 8 miles south of Wanata. Valpo was 8 miles east, or I'm sorry, 8 miles west of Wanata. So I had about a 16-mile drive to school in the morning, roughly.
Mm.
And there was one morning, apparently I never heard my alarm go off.
Oh.
Yeah. I woke up with a half hour to get dressed and get to school. Mind you, part of my initial part of my drive was making it through town down to the highway. I drove a little Dodge Neon at the time, little four banger with all the power of a leaf blower, and not even a good leaf blower at that. A 20-volt electric with that was down to about a quarter battery. Uh, I got out on the Highway 30, and I don't know if it was the time of day or if I just got lucky that day, but traffic was minimal. And Highway 30 is a straight shot between Valpo and Wanata with no actual curves to speak of other than the slightest of adjustments of the steering wheel. And yeah, apparently that Neon will do a $120. Found that out that day. Took me a minute to get up to the $120, but I
Well,
got there.
with the wind behind it going downhill, yeah, you can do that.
I got up to Wanata, slowed back down to about 45 because one of the county cops like to sit in one of the parking lots. Turned right onto 421 to head south. As soon as I was over the set of railroad tracks, it was hammered back down, and I didn't have a single vehicle in front of me the whole way to La Crosse.
Lucky
As I
bugger.
as I pulled up and got out of the car and grabbed my book bag, I heard a bell go off. Now they did two bells. One, you had the
Mhm.
first bell, which was basically your 2-minute warning. Your ass needs to be in class. I ran from that parking lot up 3 flights of stairs to my locker. Thank God my last name's Bachman, so I had locker number 1. Whipped that code in real quick, slammed the book bag in, walked around the corner into the computer class, and sat down as that next bell went off. Teacher comes walking in. I'm sweating profusely. She's like, "You okay?" I'm like, "I'm good. I need a minute." What
Hang on.
happened? I woke up late. You woke up late? Yeah, I live in Valpo now. I woke up at 7:30. She goes, "And you made it here in time?" I said, "I ain't telling you how."
No,
Tell us
ma'am.
it.
No. It's none of your business. These are not the droids you're looking for. Move along.
Yeah.
Now, forgive me for a second for imagining a guy your size, because I know you're a big dude,
Hmm.
running for the parking lot into the school. I'm going, I hope nobody ever got in your way because they'd been knocked sideways.
So I'm about 330 now. I was about 250-ish back then. And yeah,
Average football player size. I mean, can you imagine a linebacker going, I'm late, move it?
Get out the way, bitch.
so
Boom.
there's one guy. He was he a grade or two? I think he was only one grade ahead of me. He was You look at him and you're like, oh man, he's fat. No, that was fucking muscle
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
under all that. Like, he played on our high school basketball team. It was funny when he'd set a pick, because he'd set the pick and you just see him go, and Skipper's just standing there looking down at him like, you thought.
Oh, yeah. Um,
And he wasn't tall. He was probably, I'm 6 foot. He was at least 6 inches shorter than I was. He was
but
maybe 5 and
solid.
oh, solid as a fucking brick. But so the freshman and sophomore lockers were downstairs in the school. The school was kind of weird. You had the basement area, which was freshman, sophomore lockers, the library, and the art room, and a couple of science classes, and then like the admin office. The second floor was elementary, K through 5. The third floor was the rest of your high school classes. Government econ, computer lab, math, all that shit. So being a freshman or sophomore, when you got out of class, if you were upstairs, you had to run downstairs, grab your next set of books, and pray that you didn't have to run back upstairs. I don't know why we did conditioning for sports, because by God, I got it every fucking day going between classes.
You,
Mhm.
you got your steps in going up and down the stairs. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But you
Uh,
could always tell when Skipper had one of his science classes, especially once he was a junior, because all you'd hear is "make way," and if you didn't push yourself up against the locker, by God, he was pushing you up against it. And if you had a class down there with him, you just walked right behind him because he was a plow making the path for you down that road.
mhm.
Meanwhile, I was 100 and probably 130 pounds in high school, and still there were several people that didn't really mess with me because
Mhm.
I had anger issues. We'll just put it that way.
Well,
Oh,
we were such a small school, we didn't have a football team. We had men's volleyball instead of football. For us to have a football team, it would have took every guy in that school playing, plus a few of the farm girls, um, just to
don't
round out a full team.
don't say anything bad about the farm girls. Believe me,
Oh,
they can
trust me,
play.
yeah, no, because they were out there with us, because we still held a football game every year, juniors and seniors against freshmen and sophomore. It was the day of
My
the fish fry for the athletic department.
my little sister, and little is figuratively because she's just younger than me. She was the first girl that the football coaches asked to join the football team. She started off in band playing clarinet
Mhm.
and then glockenspiel, and then they go, "Oh, you're a big girl. We'll give you the bass drum." Football coaches took one look at her and they go, "Oh, ain't nobody getting in her way," and asked her to join the team. She didn't. But believe me, that was a kindness. Because if a linebacker ever came at her, I know my sister, she'd have picked him up, ripped him in half, threw the pieces over her shoulders, and kept running. Because don't nothing. I swear, she's 63 years old right now. Same age as my wife, but don't tell anybody I said that. Um, Nobody gets her in her way now.
Mhm.
I mean, seriously. Um, she walked through a room like George Patton, Alice Cooper, or something like that. Just her presence gets known. People step aside. It's not that she's ornery, but she's freaking ornery.
Oh,
Seriously. It's
we
my
used,
little sister. I mean, seriously, I'm the only one allowed to pick on her, and even then, she didn't like it.
yeah.
Um,
But hey, you got to live to tell the tale. Uh,
hey, I'm not a big guy. I'm not. I don't have any size whatsoever to me. But um, I got picked on a lot in high school. My sister did not put up with that shit. They tried to pick on her. She put guys in their locker and closed the door. They started picking on our little brother. She welded the damn locker door shut. Boom! I mean, metal melted. Nobody picked on my little brother. Um, that was her job.
yeah.
Um, oh,
She had first dibs. You get the scraps. Uh,
I didn't pick on him. I told him how to play chess, and it didn't take more than a week before he was beating me. Um, boy's a freaking genius. I mean, seriously. If I did a photo comparison once between my little brother at age 30 and Nikola Tesla at age 30 and showed it to my mom. And she goes, "When did Timmy buy that tie?" They look identical. I mean, obviously, we have ancestors in that part of Eastern Europe because the genetics ran true. And he's just amazingly inventive, intuitive as all get out.
Mhm.
And mom taught all of us art from when we were in diapers. Mom's fantastic. Her paintings should be in museums, but aren't because we don't. We're too humble for that shit. But just about 5 years ago, my little brother, who had never had any interest in art whatsoever, picked up a paintbrush for the first time. Oh my God. He's better than me. I'm going, oh, how am I going to live this down? He's better than me. He's better than Sharon. He's better. Oh, he's almost better than Mom. And then my niece Taylor went to college to be an animator. She's hoping to get a job with Disney or Pixar. If you've ever seen any of my artwork, you if you looked at hers, you go, y'all are actually related. She's good. I'm going, um, jealousy much, Daniel? Um, good Lord. I mean, Mom taught her since she was in diapers. Along with all the art classes she's ever taken in school, along with all the college classes, she can do stuff on paper with pen and ink. She can do stuff on a computer that looks like it was paper and pen and ink and scanned, but it is in a computer. I mean, if Nick ever saw it, he'd go, I'm through. Bye bye. And Nick's one of the most fantastic artists I've known.
Oh yeah.
Um, uh, whoever hires my niece, and she is on the NDCD,
Mm-hmm.
whoever hires my niece to do animation is going to get more than they bargained for. Because not only is she talented, she's extremely creative, and she might even write her own stories for you. I am impressed. I am beyond impressed. I mean, seriously. I've been at this writing shit for over 30 years, and I'm just. A lot of people told me, I'm good, this, that, and the other thing. Yeah, I know. I had a lot of practice, but um, the getting the techniques down for anything takes a lot of practice. And then Taylor comes up. She goes, "Hey, this is a cartoon I made with my mom, my mother, not hers, but her grandmother. Is a character trying to get somebody out of her way while she was shopping in a store." And I'm going, "Oh, child, you, you do not." I mean, if you had been around when George Lucas was making Star Wars, you'd be more famous than John Williams for writing the damn soundtrack. Girl is just that damn good. Now, what happens, happens, but, I'm just saying, if there's anybody important out there that ever watches this shit, you could do a whole lot worse than hire my niece to do some animation for you.
Then
She
you
and
can.
Mike Jimmy would be a really good collaboration.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Um, seriously.
Yeah.
We'd have trouble keeping up with them. We really would. Because they both work fast. But
Have you ever seen some of Mike Jimmy's art bladed?
No, I don't think so.
Oh,
I think Thursdays is when he streams.
yeah.
Okay.
Around Thursday, it's around 11 a.m. Central. I want to say.
Okay.
It's called Hung on Animation. He's part of the Indie Comics Network. He's working on an animation for Life on Korra, which is is that a comic or graphic novel?
It has been it started off as a comic. Now it is a graphic novel. And Jimmy's turning it into an animated movie. And I am privileged to have been asked to write the soundtrack.
Nice.
There's like a 30-second intro that he's got out there for people to look at.
I think I've seen that. I think I've seen it as an ad on.
Yeah, Nick plays that ad.
Yeah.
Nick plays
Okay.
it. Yes. I did the music for it. A couple of our friends are voice actors in it. Nick is actually a voice actor in it,
Mhm.
but not on the part that's in the
Mhm.
the preview. And I'm going, when you get this finished, I'm gonna have to drop every freaking thing till I get you something you're happy with.
Mm.
I love focusing on a project like that. I really do. But it does mean that I have to drop everything else because it's going to take 100% of my concentration to be able to deliver something worthy of the art.
Mhm. Well, just the music you've done so far for the 30-second, trailer is amazing.
Well, thank you. It was very difficult for me to tie it down to 30 seconds because I normally think in 10-minute increments as far as musical compositions go. I'm long winded, okay? Um, you think I can talk? You ain't heard my music yet. Um, oh Lord, I go on forever. No, even if I'm not saying a word. You give me a full orchestra to play with, I'm having fun.
I got one instrument, and I can maybe break out 30 seconds twice now.
No, I've heard the thing for your video ad. I
Yeah.
I enjoy it a lot. I really do. Um, I get the feeling you were trying to sound like um, I don't know the name of the instrument, but it's a 3-string that was used in a lot of um, kabuki or whatnot,
Yeah.
and
That's kind of what I was going for.
a koto, which is basically that's like a a harp but laid out flat. Hey, Foxy. Um, I like it. I really do. I like it. You nailed what you were trying to do. I
Mhm.
think that worked extremely well.
Well, thank you.
Um, Speaking of someone that can half-ass play like 16 different instruments and none of them good, um, anybody that actually can play gets my respect. And if you can play and talk at the same time, if you can play and sing at the same time,
No, I haven't tried that.
I know better. I can only concentrate on one thing at a time. It's either where does this finger go next or hello. I can't do both at the same time.
If I could have done both at the same time, I would have been really famous because I used to play trombone.
Oh,
That's a skill right there.
Right.
hey, right there. I mean, um, I grew up listening to um, the Dorsey brothers and Glenn Miller. So anybody can play trombone has my respect right off the bat. That is not one of my skills. I used to play trumpet and French horn. I tried to learn how to play violin, but I was never really good at it. Ma save us. Yes, indeed. Uh, I have in some of the live music that we did with the garage band stuff, where it's not me and Jim, it's me and the other guys. I
Mhm.
had like 5 different synthesizers set up and bass guitar, the very badly played rhythm guitar. Um, I don't know. It depends on which piece of music it was the recording was from. But and I was working the mixing board and the tape recorder at the same time, so I was a little distracted. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
um, the recording studio is my best instrument. You give me a good recording studio, I can figure out how to do something with it.
And I did all that
Maybe
with just my one guitar and 3 different programs on my computer. So
hey, that's still a recording studio.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, I didn't even have a computer. This was all Radio Shack mixing boards and a reel-to-reel tape recorder. So
yeah,
when you listen to some of this stuff like Joe's got, it's like you did that on cassette in one take. Yeah, I was really young and stupid at the time. That's all I had.
you work with what you got, man.
Yep.
Yeah, the thing is, being able to turn what you got into something nobody ever thought of before. Um, my recording studio in my apartment was half a dozen microphones hanging from the ceiling, several guitar amplifiers all over the room, plugged directly into 2 Radio Shack 6 channel mixing boards, plugged into a cassette deck, plugged into a reel to reel.
Damn.
Hey, and I was able to do this while playing. I'm impressed.
So,
Um,
so am I.
Yeah. Oh shit.
so, so I'm sitting there. Oh, and the drum kit we had set up for the garage band, half of it was my brother's drum kit from the marching band, and half of it was the drum kit from the actual drummer. So he had like 18 different drums and cymbals and whatever scattered around. He didn't like it. He didn't. He wanted the standard 4 piece,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
and I told him just use the standard 4 piece then. Um, there was one day when I just turned the recorder on, and I sat there and started banging around on the full drum kit, and I'll be damned if something in the air tonight did not show up on MTV the next fucking year. I'm going, Phil
Yeah.
Collins has got a microphone in my apartment. Uh,
That's like the
Hopefully,
most well-known part of that song too. Is that little bit of drum that like everyone knows.
oh, that is one of the top 5 change-ups ever recorded. Um, there's one I can claim in Displaced Detective. One of those songs has something that is, if not an equal to that, then a close runner up. Because I'm sitting there, I'm I'm typing stuff in with the mouse, you know. I'm not actually playing instruments when I'm doing this shit in the computer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going, oh my God, did I just do that? That's fantastic. I got to hear that again. Okay, I'm putting that particular measure on infinite repeat until I get satisfied that I did it right. And oh, fuck. I can't remember if it's in Infinite Sky or To Become One, but I know I did it on Displaced Detective. But there's one change up in there where it's just kind of floaty and everything, and all the instruments are coming together. It's an orchestral piece, and then all of a sudden the drum just goes dum 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 dum, and everything changes gears. It goes from low gear climbing up the mountain to high gear running down the highway really quick. I don't remember which one it was. I really don't. But I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud. Unlimited Sky is my favorite track off the album because it starts off with a bird chirping,
Mm-hmm.
and then it kind of builds up slowly and builds up slowly, and then the orchestra comes in, and then uh, the solo violin comes in, which follows the theme of earlier pieces in the album, and it's just to this day I do not understand how I was able to do it. I mean, seriously, it's like you got 5 samurai coming at you. You got a pocket knife, and you're the one to walk away. You know, that's the closest translation I can give it to thesis right there. Uh, I don't know how I did it. Turned on my inner Wolverine, I suppose. But
Well, we're down to about the last 2 minutes.
oh fuck. Oh well. I hate it. Gentlemen, thank you very much for being here. I have enjoyed it immensely.
Oh,
I hope anybody that watches it later will enjoy it as well. But if they don't,
it's my
fuck
fault.
'em. No, it's not your fault. Uh,
Have you been around for the end of one of Dan's shows yet?
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay.
oh, you've read the bedtime story. Okay.
Okay.
One of these days, I'm actually going to have to read it with my voice. Oh,
Okay.
and Joe's head just tilted and going, ooh, shit.
Well, when you said one of these days you're gonna have to read it, I was sitting there thinking to myself, were you that drunk when you wrote it that you don't remember what you wrote? Or
Oh no. One day I'm going to have to shift it from text to audio.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't think Dawn will recover. We'll have to take up a GoFundMe for her hospital bills.
Donna probably won't either. Uh,
Yeah, you're right there. I better double the GoFundMe. All right, guys. Let me go to Brand here because I've been paying absolutely no attention to anything anybody said in chat since Josh joined us and said hello. But yeah, got it lined up. Thank you very much. Anybody that watches this either live or later on, thank you very much. And may your lives be blessed.
and as Chris always
Good night.
says, good guys.
Transmission overload.
System will shut down. System will shut down. System will shut down.